Right now, I'm speaking to you using a tool called language. A bunch of animals can use language, but they just can't seem to use it as well as us. We are the pioneers of language. But first of all, what even is language and how do we communicate? In 1956, Roman Jacobson published a book called Fundamentals of Language. In this book, he mentioned 6 methods of communication, which he calls context, message, channel, code, sender, and receiver. Now, he believes that each one of these map to a function in language, which also have their own distinct meanings. These functions are the referential function, the conative function, the emotive function, the phatic function, the poetic function, and the metalingual function. Now, what are the meanings of each of these? Firstly, the referential function is about referring to objects, like this person pointing towards a globe. The conative function is about commands. The emotive function is about expressing emotions like yuck or ooh. The phatic function is about establishing and maintaining contact. For example, the word hello uses the phatic function because it establishes contact. The poetic function uses the structure of words rather than their meaning. For example, rhyming is more about the last syllables in words than the true message being sent across. The metalingual function talks about code. Basically, it's when language is used to talk about language itself, like right now. Now, let's look at the methods of contact and what they truly mean. In this conversation, the person talking is the sender, and the person listening is the receiver. It's important to note that there doesn't have to be one sender or receiver. There could be multiple senders and multiple receivers too. They can only share information as long as there is a road for it to travel through. This is referred to as the channel. If this channel is blocked and there's a wall between them, they obviously can't talk. Traveling on this road, there's a truck, which is the message, and the shipment inside of the car is the context. The traffic lights the truck obeys is code. If a person says something like, colorless green ideas sleep furiously, there's a channel, a message, and even code, but there is no context. The phrase is contradictory. The same analogy also works for writing. A person can write something, and later on it can be read. However, it's important to note that these two methods, writing and speaking, are completely different ways of conveying information. The first orally transmitted language dates to over 200,000 years ago, but the first evidence of writing only started 5,000 years prior to today. Moreover, while writing is reconstructible, sadly, speaking just isn't. However, we can still know what cavemen spoke from the comparative method. For example, let's look at the word 3 in many languages. There's Sanskrit trios, Latin tres, Greek tres, and Finnish kalme. Sorry for bad pronunciation. Now, notice how these 3 have similar words, but this one sticks out. These 3 might be related, and they might even have an ancestor with its own word for 3. This group is a language family, and Finnish might just be in a different language family. Look again at their ancestor. That's called a proto-language. Let's take a look at some language families around the world, like the Romance language family, the Udo-Aztec language family, and also the Japonic language family. But sometimes, words across this language family can look different. Compare dau, erku, and svai. This is because there are often many languages from a proto-language to a modern one. Let's look at the same sentence in these stages.
Mater suchnum lupeiti. Moder sunu lubait. Si moder lovat dona sunu. The mother loves his son.
There are 4 ways this sentence has changed: phonetics, morphology, syntax, and semantics. Let's start off with phonetics. Look at this word across these languages. Notice how the T changed to a D, and then the D changed to a Th. Phonetics is essentially just sound. Next is morphology. In the English sentence, son is the direct object, and earlier, a suffix used to tell you that. That switched to a separate word, and finally just word order. Morphology is mostly just affixes, which are suffixes and prefixes. The next change is syntax. Look at this word, which meant to love. In the first sentence, it's at the end. This is subject-object-verb or SOV order. Later on, it switched to subject-verb-object order. Syntax is just the way words are arranged. Lastly, semantics is just meaning. For example, this word in the first language means the one that's born and comes from a root meaning to give birth. Eventually, the word changed meaning to just son, losing its original connotation.